What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna do an SCP reaction. This one might be one of the weirder ones. It's SCP-0705, a.k.a. militaristic Play-Doh. This sounds weird. Why? It doesn't sound deadly. It's just Play-Doh. I mean, it's just Play-Doh. How is that deadly? Okay, well, let's go.
The sun rises over the battlefield.
Battlefield.
The American flag flaps gently in the wind.
Okay.
The world is silent.
Oh, there seems to be plane. Oh.
The door slams open, and the boy
Why would a
runs
kid come out in the
house,
war?
making plane noises with his mouth. The toy bomber in his hand arcs and soars, dipping and diving as it makes its imaginary bombing run around the backyard.
The heck?
Over the
Why would you
sandbox,
go
sweeping
out
low
there
through
in a
thick
war?
grass, past the pond, under the swing set, and up and away into the sky, climbing higher and higher in the direction of the treehouse, with its American flag flapping in the morning breeze. What a perfect day.
Oh, there's no
Boy
war.
breathes
Okay.
in the air deeply
I thought there was
and
like
looks around.
war going on.
His shoulders slump. He's bored already. 2 seconds in
That's
the dark,
actually
he's
me.
already
I'm
bored.
like out. That's actually me. I'm outside for like 2 seconds and I'm bored. And I'm like, nope. I'm back inside watching videos and making videos for you guys.
That he hasn't already done. He's played in the sand. He's swung on the swings. He's climbed up to the treehouse. He hears the car engine kicking into life somewhere out front. His dad's voice carries over to him on the breeze. I'm running late for work. I'll see you later. If you find...
Oh, guys, I'm actually sorry again. I'm so sorry for the ads. I don't have this
If you find my bag
yet.
anywhere, don't go looking inside of it. Just tell me where it is when I get home. Love you.
Okay,
Bye.
guys, if you don't know this, for some kids saying not, for parents to say to some kids not to do something, that's like telling them to do it in kid language. That's like telling them to do it, basically. Just wanted to point that out, and that is definitely true for me.
Bye. The wheels crunch through the gravel driveway, and the engine sound slowly fades into the distance, leaving the boy alone in the backyard again, with nothing but the wind for company. Great. Now he's got to find
Wait, what?
something to do
How?
for the
This
whole
kid's
day.
10 years old, like.
He throws the toy
This guy's
bomber to the ground in frustration.
Oh.
A wing snaps off and bounces away into the flower
That's-
bed.
His parents gonna be very mad at that. But this kid's like 10 years old. What, 10, 11 years old? He should not be alone by himself yet. Just wanted to point that out. But that's weird. Why would they parents leave him alone?
Oh, he'll need to fix that before Dad gets home.
Yeah.
Super glue. That'll do the trick. There must be some inside. His dad is always fixing things. But the boy's mission is almost immediately sidetracked. As soon as he steps into the house, he spots his dad's bag right by the back
How
door,
does his
where he
dad
always
not find
forgets to
that?
look. The boy looks at it curiously for a moment. He wonders what's in there that his dad told him not to look at. He'll just have a little peek. Not a proper look.
Come
He
on.
won't even open the bag all the way. Just a little look inside. If anyone asks, he'll say he was looking for super glue.
That's kind of
Wait.
weird.
What's that? It can't be. A little pot with a red lid.
Oh, this is
and
where
big
the
cartoonish
Play-Doh
letters on
comes
the
in.
side.
But it's just a
Play-Doh?
normal pot of.
What's his dad doing with a pot of Play-Doh?
But that is definitely weird that his dad would have Play-Doh. But still, how does this become like an SCP? How does this become weird?
His bag. He
It's
thought
just
his
a normal
dad had
pot of
really
Play-Doh.
grown-up job. That's what his mom always says. His dad has a very secret grown-up job, very important, very secret. Is that really what he does at work all day? Play with Play-Doh? The boy is far too grown up for Play-Doh. He hasn't played with it for years because it's for babies.
No, Play-Doh is awesome. It's for all ages. No matter how young or how old you are, Play-Doh is awesome. I still play with it myself. Don't judge me.
He's going to play with it now. Nope. He's a big boy who plays with real toys.
Play-Doh is a real
But still,
toy.
a little look won't hurt. He'll take it out, squeeze it in his hands a bit, remember how babyish it is, and put it back. He definitely isn't going to play with it. The boy pops the red lid off and
He
peers
is probably gonna
inside.
play with it.
Yep, just as he thought. Boring. Just a lump of red putty, sitting there being all boring. But as the boy tips the pot out into his hand, it feels a bit weird. It moves a little in his palm. Is there an insect inside it or something? It feels like a pair of little legs. He rolls the lump over into his other hand and peers at it. Yes, a pair of legs sticking out from the red ball. Only they're not insect legs at all. They're tiny, about the size of insect legs, but there are only 2 of them. They're totally red, matching the color of the Play-Doh, and seem to have a tiny pair of boots on the ends of them. The legs wiggle around helplessly, sticking up into the air, until all of a sudden, a hand appears sticking up out of the clay. It looks like a tiny person has somehow been buried in the Play-Doh upside down.
Question. This is completely outrooted, but how is his legs facing this way? And then wouldn't the body be facing that way as well? How's the arm pointing up this way if the body was facing that way? That doesn't make sense to me.
The hand gets a good grip on the red ball and pushes and pulls at it, steadily
Why would he
freeing
pull
the
at
rest
it?
of its body until suddenly a fully formed tiny man pops out of the surface. Roughly the size of the boy's fingernail, the little red man stands up straight and
He's just wiggling around like doing
like
the wave.
Wearing boots, he's also got a backpack and a helmet on his miniature head, all made of Play-Doh. In fact, this tiny person looks just like one of those little green army man toys that his dad had.
Oh, those are fun to play with.
The little soldier looks up and sees the boy staring down at him, jumping back in fright. The boy laughs. He guesses he must look pretty scary to someone so small. He
That is
smiles at
actually
the
kind of
little
funny.
army man. The little army man very slowly lowers himself down to his knees, reaching down to the Play-Doh floor he's standing on. His little red hand seems to be feeling around for something in the putty. In fascination, the boy stares closely as the Play-Doh under the soldier's hand morphs into the shape of... what is that? A gun.
Oh,
The soldier lifts the
that
tiny
an
red
AK?
rifle to his shoulder and points it straight at the boy's eye. He fires, and to the boy's surprise, something comes out. A stream of teeny Play-Doh bullets pepper his eyeballs. The boy throws the Play-Doh ball as hard as he can and blinks hard. A tiny scream goes with it. The bullets didn't really hurt that much, but his eye is a little watery now. The tiny soldier has a real working tiny assault rifle. He's starting to
I thought
understand
it was an
why his
AK.
dad is still playing with Play-Doh. Where did that Play-Doh go? He must have thrown it into the backyard. The boy runs outside and looks around. There it is, just next to the sandbox. He creeps up to the ball cautiously, trying to see if the little soldier is still there. Wait, hang on. There he is. No, there he is. Is that another one?
Oh, there's two of them now.
The small crowd gathering around the
There's
ball.
4 of them.
He can't quite believe what he's seeing. Dozens of little men
There's a lot of them.
around the red ball, with more marching out of it in
That's a lot of
50
army
seconds.
men.
Little red Play-Doh tents
Oh,
are being
imagine they're just gonna try to take over. Oh, I just thought of something funny. Imagine they try taking over the entire world. That'd actually be so funny if they tried taking over the entire world. They're little mini men. They're like this big, like maybe the size of my thumb, maybe the size of my pinky-ish, maybe like this big, maybe I don't know. But that's actually hilarious if they would try to take over the world against fully sized men with working AKs, where one bullet could pester them, and then a tank could take out their entire army. So if they try to take over the entire world, that would be hilarious.
Tiny soldiers chop down a twig with tiny red axes.
How does that
and
work?
start a campfire.
How? Okay, guys. Again, this is just Play-Doh. How is it doing this? It's just Play-Doh. That's a lie. How does that work? It's just Play-Doh.
Through the grass, and a general hops out with a cowering officer by his side.
He looks slumped down like,
tiny orders. It's difficult to hear what the man is saying, but it sounds like he's speaking English, only really high-pitched. He points to a group of soldiers who immediately rush over to the ball of Play-Doh and pull a ladder out of it. They rest the ladder against the edge of the sandbox, and a couple of them hurry their way to the top.
Hurry,
Climbing up
when they're
onto
so
the wooden
slow.
board, the pair of them split up, rifles in hand, checking the area is clear. The general is the next up the ladder. He surveys the yard with a battle-worn wariness, eyes coming to rest on the treehouse. He pulls out his binoculars and takes a good hard look at it, studying every inch of the tree before spotting the flagpole rising from the top. Lowering the binoculars with evident satisfaction, the general points a tiny hand at the enormous tree and cries out an order at the top of his little voice. A high pitch rises from the troops on the ground. They pump fists and slap backs. The army has grown already. As the boy looks back down at the platoon gathering in the grass, he sees a dozen more tents have sprung up. A group of soldiers stand in formation around the ball.
That's
of
a
Play-Doh,
lot of
keeping
army
watch in
men.
every direction. And there, a soldier sits on an acorn crying,
Why?
helmet in his hands. He weeps openly. There is a red cross on the tent next to
Oh
him.
no.
That must be the medical tent. The boy crouches down on all fours and peers inside the tent. There, on the tiny red bed, surrounded by tiny red nurses, lies a soldier. His legs are bent out of shape, and he's crying out in pain.
Guys, oh my god, not again. Guys, I'm actually super sorry, so sorry about that.
The doctor approaches and gives him the bad news before readying the saw.
No.
The boy sits back up. He can't watch. A high-pitched cry echoes from the tent, loud enough to dampen the commotion around the rest of the camp. The boy recognizes that scream. It's the same scream he heard when he threw the Play-Doh out of the door.
Oh,
That first brave soldier defending his brothers in arms from the giant. What had the boy done? The soldier outside the medical tent picks up the phone and informs the tiny soldier's tiny family what had happened. He had lost
I have
both his
families,
legs, but not his life. He was a hero. The battalion is mobilizing. No time to mourn. Snipers climb the ladder onto the edge.
They have
of the spot,
snipers.
all along the wooden beam as trucks
That's
rumble
a
through
lot
the
of
thick grass
snipers.
below. On the other side of the sandbox wall, a desert platoon makes its way through the scorching heat.
Sorry, but this guy's gun was a paintball gun, kinda. Just wanted to point that out. It looks like an a.k.a. paintball gun.
Soldiers sit atop tanks, shaking the last remaining drops of doughy water from their red bottles and wiping sweat from their brows. All
How
of
they
them heading
sweat?
in the direction of the tree
Doesn't
house.
water destroy
The
Play-Doh?
boy stands up, surrounded by tiny soldiers. He has to be careful where he steps now.
That's
as they fill the
a,
grass around
what?
him.
That's a
A couple
lot.
of tanks rumble between his feet, flattening the blades of grass as if they were as weak as, well, blades of grass. All of the soldiers, all of the equipment and vehicles, everything is coming from the little ball.
Yeah,
of
what?
red
Wait.
Play-Doh.
How is it not shrinking? You would think, I mean, this is all Play-Doh. Wouldn't this, like, shrink?
And little is the right word for it. With every new unit deployed to the front line, the ball shrinks slightly.
Oh, okay, that
It's
makes
getting
sense. That,
smaller and
okay,
smaller by
that
the
makes
minute.
sense.
They're gonna need reinforcements. The boy rushes into the house and returns in just a few seconds,
Um,
arms laden with
Oh, that's
Play-Doh.
good. I
He got
mean,
every part of it when he was little.
guys, if you were in this kid's position and you saw this entire layout happening, what would you do? Personally, I would try to just continue watching. I wouldn't help because I normally mess stuff up when I want to help. So I wouldn't try to help because I would probably mess stuff up. And just watch out how it's going. And then that would just be so cool. But comment down what you guys would do.
Little. He pops them all open, one after the other, and throws them onto the ground in the midst of the...
I love how they're all brown because that's so realistic. Like, when you're a kid, you like mixing all the colors together, and then eventually you just mix too many colors that it makes it either like a brown or grayish color. That's actually funny.
The only slight issue is that all the Play-Doh is that gross brown color that it goes when you mix all the colors together.
Yeah.
That won't matter, will it? Gunfire breaks
Are you
out
sure about
almost
that? Oh.
immediately below him. The boy
It
jumps
looks like
back
it does
in
matter.
surprise, stepping on a communications mast by
Ooh,
accident.
that's not good.
Tiny brown soldiers rush out of the Play-Doh balls.
That's
all
a
around the
lot.
camp, diving
That's a
into cover
lot.
and opening fire on the red soldiers. It's a massacre. Red soldiers taking a rest from the front line, calling their loved ones, getting ready to go home on leave, lying injured in beds. All of them are gunned down. Most don't even have a chance to grab their rifles. One brave red soldier sprints to the communications mast and tries to radio the rest of the battalion, telling them what's happened. The mast is destroyed. A
Oh,
stray
that's
bullet
not
catches him
good.
in the side of his head.
Ooh,
He crumbles to the ground,
headshot.
just a lifeless blob of Play-Doh. The boy watches in horror as a
What are they
couple
gonna
of
do with
brown
the? Oh,
soldiers pick up
it
the
seems like
body
they're gonna
and
show us
toss
what they
it
do.
into the
Oh,
nearest
what
ball of
are they
brown
doing?
Play-Doh.
It was like they're trying to kill them by
The team of them mix the
suffocation
body in with the
again.
rest of the
Re-kill.
dough until it's that same brown color.
But
From the blob emerges a new brown soldier.
oh
The small
no,
red streak running across his heart.
that's unfair. That's not
Never been
fair.
red at all. The soldier quickly disappears amongst the mass of helmets and boots, trampling any trace of the Red Army. The whole yard erupts in tiny warfare. The red snipers lining the walls of the sandbox are picked off one after the other. The
Yeah, I
desert
should have
platoon
picked
are
sniper
ambushed by
rifles.
landmines and quickly surrounded, hiding in broken down tanks as plumes of sand are thrown up all around them. Before long, the brown troops have them completely surrounded. One last soldier bursts out from the hatch in his tank, holding grenades in each hand. The bullet catches him in the head before he can even finish his war cry. The grenades explode
It's actually
harmlessly,
kind of
nowhere
funny. I
near
just
the
got a
brown troops.
headshot while
The
trying to
red
do a war
convoy
cry.
on its way to the tree
Kinda funny.
stands the best chance of survival. The boy follows them with fascination.
Are you sure about
watching
that,
as the
though?
Brown Army fight their way through the red line from the back, splitting it through the middle. as
I
they
mean, there's literally a saying called strength in numbers. So if there has more than them, wouldn't that mean that they would probably definitely beat them? Are those trucks? I just realized that. Are those trucks?
superior firepower makes short work of the transport and supply trucks.
Oh, what?
Some red soldiers dive away into the thick grass, climbing up dandelions and weeds in a desperate attempt to escape.
They're completely in
Succeed
here.
as the bodies fall back into the mud like
I would
raindrops.
personally, if I was one of these women, I would probably cover myself in mud to make it seem like I was one of them, because it's kind of a similar color.
Tiny screaming noise fills the yard. The boy turns around just in time to jump out of the way of the brown fighter jets.
Fighter jets? How do they fly? Again, they are just Play-Doh. How do they fly?
5 of them streak through the air.
5. That's it. Really? That's actually great.
Jet, one after the other,
I read those things.
what little remains of the red convoy. The gunfire.
Okay, first of all, how does any of this even happen? I know it's an SCP. How does it fly? It's only Play-Doh. Second of all, how do missiles work? It's only Play-Doh. How does it become like so realistic? How? I mean, the gun makes sense. Tanks make sense because that just fires Play-Doh. But those don't explode. Those just no. The guns make sense because those are just firing tiny pellets. Tanks and the missiles don't make sense because those explode. How is it able to explode?
Fire dies down within the hour. Skirmishes break out across the yard as brown patrols pick off the stragglers they find from the Red Army hiding in ants' nests, under fallen leaves, and huddling around broken down vehicles.
I love how they're just so open, and then they think that they're gonna be able to survive by hiding in such open areas. That's so funny.
The boy watches as several high-ranking officers gather in the brown base to oversee the absorption of the last of the red ball of Play-Doh. They mold themselves a big meeting table with a brown map of the yard and plot out their strategy for taking the treehouse for themselves, moving around even tinier little model units across the surface of it with sticks. The plan quickly comes together before the boy's eyes and under his feet. A series of mortars and surface-to-air missiles are deployed along the wall of the sandbox. The Air Force takes over the original brown base, chopping down blades of grass and laying out Play-Doh runways flanked with brown hangars. A ring of military units surround the base of the treehouse, strategizing about how best to ascend the colossal structure and reach the flagpole.
Just climb it with the air.
Aircraft splashes into the water, marking the arrival of the...
Is that water? Are those boats? Okay, yeah, it's just Play-Doh. So how does it float if it's Play-Doh? And doesn't water wash away Play-Doh? Comment down if I'm correct. I can't remember, but whenever I was merging water toys with Play-Doh, when all the water that hit the Play-Doh like disintegrated it and made it smell terrible. Or really good. I forget which one.
Navy. The ship is soon flanked by a pair of destroyers armed with anti-aircraft missiles.
What?
The boy is about to go over and peer into the water to try and spot a nuclear submarine when he comes across a sight for sore eyes.
Submarine.
Red soldiers, not much more than a single squadron, hunkered down around the base of the swing set. They've covered themselves in dirt and little clumps of moss to camouflage. They must be the forwardmost scout squadron, just far enough away from that original convoy to escape the slaughter. But what are they doing? Units are all gathered around a pile of leaves. There's something underneath. What is it? It looks like plastic. Of course, it's his toy bomber with the
yeah, that's so smart. If they can get that to work somehow, wait. How would that work? That's plastic. They're Play-Doh. How does that work? How would they get the bomber plane to work if they're Play-Doh and that's plastic? Play-Doh and plastic does not merge.
Next to the red units, doing his best to hide in the grass. The red soldiers are arguing amongst themselves. The general is there. He survived, but...
The general survived! General!
The scouts' high-pitched arguing is a little too quiet for the boy to make out, but it's pretty clear what's going on. They need to get the toy plane working, but it'll be...
Amazing means the tooth fairy made it to the house last night.
What?
Amazing got Gabriella to the school dance.
Be hopeless without the other wing. He lifts his head and looks around the yard. There it is, in the flower bed, but it's surrounded by brown troops. How could the red soldiers possibly fight their way to it and get back unharmed?
You're a giant.
Oh, wait. The boy just gets up, walks over to the flower bed, and picks up the wing. In about 3 seconds, he completes an insurmountable...
That's actually hilarious, because they're like, he can do the impossible. He's like Kidzilla. Go Kidzilla!
...effort for those little soldiers. Kneeling next to them, he offers the missing wing. The scouts all stand back warily. It's the general who climbs to his feet and walks over to the boy. He looks at the plastic wing, looks up at the giant towering over him, and raises his arm in a salute.
Salute!
The others follow suit quickly and get to work repairing the toy
plane.
Brown soldiers notice the commotion and start to close in on them. They don't
Thank you,
Kidzilla.
Kidzilla.
Stamps out a runway for the soldiers in the
Sorry,
grass.
that was kind of late. Sorry.
It's missing one vital piece of the propeller.
What?
Only there's a bigger problem. They're out of red Play-Doh.
No.
A brown soldier breaks through the thick grass and rushes.
How would they
the
know where they are?
Peppering the side of the plane with doughy bullets. The scouts all dive.
Wait a second. Wouldn't their Play-Doh do nothing to the modern plane since Blummer is plastic and plastic is stronger than Play-Doh? No, never mind. I'm probably
And
not
kick the
talking
engine into
nonsense.
gear. Little red gears and pistons whir into life beneath the plastic. But the plane just isn't moving without the propeller. What can they do? The brown soldier stops in his tracks, staring at the plane. The boy peers at him closer.
Maybe
There's a red
kids.
streak
Oh,
across
wait.
his heart.
Easter thing. Kidzilla could literally pick up the plane, take it over the treehouse. Whee! They're up there. Boom! They win.
Conflict contorts the tiny soldier's face. The door to the plane opens, and out steps the general.
No.
The two soldiers face each other on the
Don't.
runway. The Red Scouts desperately
Don't
calling the
you
general to
dare
get back
kill
in.
the general.
None of
Don't
them
you
move.
dare.
The brown soldier raises his rifle.
No.
Shoots the general
Oh.
in the head. The older man
Oh,
crumbles to the ground.
headshot.
Inside the plane, the scouts start to panic. They don't have their guns with them.
No.
The brown army is bearing down on them from all sides. What can they do?
Well, they just
brown
lost the
soldier
fight.
with the streak across his heart walks slowly over to the general's body, stoops down, and picks him up.
Yeah, he's gonna
Carries the
merge him
body
into
around
one.
to the front of the plane,
What?
and without a word, starts using the
No,
Play-Doh
he's
to
smart.
build a
Wait.
propeller.
He was the original guy that had the red across his heart. He's being good. Yes, he made a propeller.
Brown soldiers burst through the grass, swarming the runway. They need to leave, now or never. The brown soldier places the propeller onto the plane and steps aside as the vehicle roars off along the runway. He salutes the ascending plane as one of his brown compatriots puts a bullet in his chest, right through his red heart.
Oh.
But the plane is already away, lifting off into the sky. The toy bomber dodges and weaves its way between the whizzing bullets.
You don't really have
Banks
to do
hard,
that. Oh
pulling
wait,
the
yes
nose
they
around
do.
inch by inch
Because
to
if it
the
hits the
treehouse.
propeller, then they die.
The pilot guns it, pulling the tiny stick back sharply. It seems to take an age for the bomber to climb. The boy glances behind him just in time to see the Brown Navy launch their missiles, 6 of them, all making a beeline for the bomber. Or so it seems. At the last moment, he sticks a hand out and slaps the missiles out of the air. A couple of them explode, leaving streaks of brown Play-Doh on his hand. The others spiral to the ground, where tiny soldiers dive for cover. The Brown Air
Boom.
Force scrambles, but it's too late. As the jets
Kidzilla,
shoot
why don't
across
you
the
just
yard,
whack them out of the way?
bomber has already
Oh, and I'm
reached
just
its
gonna call the kid
destination.
Kidzilla
The
from
scouts
now
jump out,
on.
deploying red Play-Doh
Because he's like a
parachutes
Kidzilla to
circle
them.
their way down onto the flagpole. A jet catches up to the bomber and blows it out
Oh,
of the sky.
wait.
The scouts don't have time to mourn their lost pilot or any
Oh,
of their
there was
dead,
still
for that
someone
matter.
flying the plane.
Quick as they can, they cut the American flag free.
Why?
As it flutters and floats down to the grass, the squadron unfurls its replacement.
No,
A red
wait.
rectangle
Does that
of
mean they
Play-Doh,
won?
Barely a couple of inches across. One of them pulls a bugle from his pack and plays the highest pitch version of the last toast you could ever hear.
Wait, does that mean they
The
won?
whole battlefield falls silent to listen. The boy places a hand over his heart just as the first drop of rain hits his shoulder. From somewhere inside,
raining.
his mom's voice calls, "It's about to start raining. Come inside before you catch a cold. I'm making cocoa." The boy grins and
Cocoa.
runs into the house. Outside, the rain pours,
Well, they're just gonna
and
be
all
fine.
trace of the war washes away
What?
into red and brown streaks. In the
Okay,
desert.
question. How does the rain make them go away? But then, like, all of the water that they survived, going inside the water, does nothing to them. Sweating, drinking water, going inside the water with the Navy. How does that not destroy them, but then the rain does? That's suspicious and weird.
And with that, you'd be forgiven for thinking that SCP-705 had never even been in that young boy's backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Most adults would just dismiss the boy's afternoon entertainment as a figment of a child's imagination, but most adults have not encountered SCP-705.
Oh, wait a second. If it's just a figment of imagination? I kind of wish this one was real if it's just a figment of your imagination. I wish this one was real if that's the case. Because that would honestly be so cool if you could just watch a battlefield, a war, go out like in your backyard of just a figment of your imagination. That would be so cool.
Otherwise known as militarized Play-Doh.
I thought
The
militaristic.
results of a redacted megacorporation's research into creating a self-molding product. The specific mechanics of how this militarized Play-Doh was created are hazy to say the least. What is known is that the small red blob of what appears to be the popular children's sculpting toy exhibits aggressive militaristic tendencies. As soon as the 5-ounce pot is open, SCP-705...
Guys, that's going to be all for today. I will finish this up in a part 2. See you guys later. Bye. See you on the flip side.